How's it going, guys? We're Dubbest here at Cali Roots 25. Big up.
You guys have been putting out music for over a decade now. How do you think your sound has evolved from these early East Coast days to what we're hearing right now?
Well, I would say, when we first started, it was very experimental. We started with, a lot of dub influence, which we still have, but we used a lot more instrumental songs and stuff, and we were doing a lot more kind of wild experimental stuff, a lot of sections and interesting, weird stuff. But over the years, I think we've grown more into like the songwriting area where we're just trying to write really solid, classic songs, more or less, and we've come around to maybe a little more simplicity, but with a little more just simplicity and songwriting is kind of the focus for us. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think a good way to put it would be we're kind of a little bit more direct with our intentions now. We used to kind of be all over the place, just like he said, experimental, but we're kind of more focused on like the song as like a single concise thing, these days.
It's got to be a whole now.
Yeah,
you know what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah.
Not just the beat. Like you guys are creating like something more that's
Right.
going to be lasting. I love that.
Yeah, timeless music.
I love that. And dub is such an essential part of your guys' style and space, texture, atmosphere, pretty much everything on that. What draws you guys to that sound, and how do you guys keep it so fresh?
It's something that we just like got really into, and like in high school, I think one of the first projects was like either Big Youth or like Augustus Pablo, but we got like really into that, and I think that brought us down a whole dub like rabbit hole, and we started getting really into it and like the psychedelic aspect of that style of reggae. We were really drawn to it. Nowadays, we definitely still like to dub, especially live. But we like to put out a single and maybe put out a dub version of the single. We've done that a good amount of times, like in the later days. We still like to do that. We just try to keep it like true to what we grew up on and what we were inspired by.
Oh, okay. And what were you guys inspired by?
It's kind of all over the place, but I guess we kind of found early on, like, it was kind of like common ground was like pop punk, but we got into like jammy stuff like the Dead and Fish. We got into dub stuff like Bad Brains and Sublime and stuff. They kind of led us in a certain direction. But we found common ground on reggae for sure.
And then a lot of jazz and soul as we got like into high school. Later into high school, we got into jazz and a lot of classic American soul music like Sam Cooke and the Temptations and all that stuff. And then all those influences kind of blend into what we are now.
Okay.
Yeah, it's worth mentioning that we're all like childhood friends. We all grew up in the same town, went to school together. We've been playing music together since we were kids. Me and Ryan played our first show, I think, when we were 12 or 13.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I was scared to death. I couldn't feel my legs.
Yeah.
We love we still love all the music we grew up on, but you know how you go through different like stages,
Yeah.
different eras of your youth, kind of like now I'm a punk kid, like now I'm a funk kid,
And your guys' latest releases are really warm and have like an analog feel to it. Are you guys tracking live as a band in the studio, or what's the sound more of a production choice?
Yeah, so it's not exactly analog, but we do try to do a lot of it together live if possible.
Okay.
We'll go back in and fix things if like redo certain parts if we don't like the way that it started. But like for us, a lot of times it's getting everyone playing together to at least catch that vibe and kind of create an energy. If you're just if you do it all too isolated, it starts to feel like a little bit more robotic. But we try to at least start with like a band feel, and then we go back in and redo some of the guitar and bass and stuff like that occasionally. But it depends. We try to do as much like in the moment as possible, but at the end of the day, you do have to go back and add layers, obviously.
Right,
but,
right.
But a lot of it is the live feel is a big part of it.
That's cool. I like that.
Yeah.
That's really cool. It takes a lot more work, but it has a better payoff. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
And reggae's all about the groove, and your rhythm section is super tight. What's the key of locking in that deep pocket live?
I think a lot of it is sort of like we'll create a groove that's the basis of the song, but we're kind of always exploring within that groove too. You know, kind of like some of our, as far as like me and the bass go, you know, like Sly and Robbie, Roots Radix, kind of like some of those classic guys, being very influenced from them in the way that they could be so solid, but also it's like, in a way, it's like never quite the same. You're kind of just like, it's a lot of listening to each other for sure.
A lot of rehearsal. Like our whole career going back to being kids, we practice every week for 3 hours at least.
Yeah, obsessive
no
practicing.
Matter what, we're always rehearsing, working on new material and still polishing off older material.
That's the way.
Yeah.
And you guys have toured all over. How does Cali Roots crowd compare to every other?
People feel like very receptive and just kind of like eager for, you know, good vibes and just eager for the music, which you find all over. But Cali Roots, like, I think is probably the best U.S. reggae festival, and it's so legendary, and like everyone feels like grateful to be here. You can feel that in the air for sure. Like
Right,
just.
Yeah, it seems like everyone here is already like Cali Roots veterans, and they all come with the same like good energy, and they're all like very excited to see the bands on the lineup. It's not like you're performing to a crowd who like knows nothing about you or like is just happens to be there. Like everyone here is here for a reason to watch the music and support you with love.
It's nice when everyone's like knows what they're here for. Like they're here for essentially reggae, but also just kind of just good music in general, because obviously it's not just reggae, it's a lot of reggae adjacent music.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. And what's one track in your catalog that you think hasn't gotten enough shine or deserves more, and why?
I feel like, I mean, I think in general it takes a lot of time for things to hit sometimes, but some of our newer stuff, I really would love to see it get, you know, overtake some of our older stuff. Like, I'm really proud of the stuff we've been doing lately. Like the song we put out, So Hard Leaving, not too long ago, I really think that's one of the better things we've done. And just like, some of it is just new groove things that we've never tried before, and kind of like using some electronic drums and stuff. I think Slow Burn I'm really proud of, but also we have a lot of new tracks that we're working on, and like, I think everything we've done, we try to go take it up a notch every time and do something new each time, so we're not like repeating ourselves, but also like trying to push our boundaries each time. We're dropping a song in next week called Irreplaceable that we're really excited about. But yeah, we're always trying to push the boundaries, so I think our newest thing is always the thing I'm most excited about personally. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, I agree. It's hard to escape that, like, our older songs, our older like handful of songs are always like our top plays. It's a funny balance. I don't really know how to like balance it out really, but we put a lot of work into like our new music, and we're super stoked on it. It's just a matter of time though. Like, you can't expect a song that's been out for 3 months to outplay something that's been out for 5 years.
Yeah, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
yeah, we do feel like we're always kind of progressing, you know, as any artist is, you know, but we're kind of always like discovering new ground, I feel like, and you know, for everyone to be with us on that journey is always great, you know.
Hell yeah. And you guys are such a tight unit on stage and off stage, but how do you guys keep this connection so strong? You know, you guys being really old friends and stuff. You know, even with my oldest friends, we butt heads like brothers, you know what I mean? So I'm sure there's got to be something that you guys do to try to, like, you know, leave that at the door or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
We've definitely had the battles before, but it was mostly like older members of the band that we'd been with for a long time, and if everyone's kind of on the same page but one person isn't, it's probably for the better to move on without them, you know. And I think it took a long time for us to realize that, but we've been the 4 core members of this band right now that we've been playing together the whole time, but for the past, since COVID basically, it's been just us 4, and we're all like very much on the same page about everything. So we don't really butt heads on stuff, thankfully. Like, we all lived together as a 5-piece when we moved to San Diego, and like being around each other 24/7, that's where you know, you're gonna get sick of each other.
Yeah, tests.
Yeah,
That's a
going
test.
And on the
tour,
road,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was like non.
Get home from tour and we're all still together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
But now
man.
we're all like living in our own places, and we see each other every week for rehearsal, and we talk nonstop in our group chats and stuff. But it's pretty easy nowadays to get everyone gets along. It's great.
Yeah, I think a big part of it is like we all have the same goals and we have the same vision of where we're trying to go with it. So if our opinions don't line up, where usually I can back up and be like, well, they must mean something by like.
Yeah,
you
we're
know,
not.
'cause we're all trying to head to the same direction. So if they're saying
Yeah.
something, there's got to be some truth behind their idea, and then usually we either meet in the middle or we realize that one of the people has a better idea. So there's not a lot of fighting about stuff now because like we know that we're all just trying to get somewhere. We're all trying to get to the same place. So
Right.
we can.
Yeah, we all. It's not like an ego thing at all. It's just like we all want what's best for the band and the sound, and we're all like very receptive to each other's input for sure.
Okay.
So that helps.
Yeah, it definitely helps.
No drama really.
Yeah, a lot of communication. No one's afraid to say something. If someone's playing something wrong or if someone's acting a certain way, like we all are pretty quick to bring it up and talk about it to make sure that
Yeah, you like check that real quick.
Exactly.
Yeah, I
We're
think
all pretty cool about it.
we got a lot of our fights out of the way in our earlier days.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Going on the road as like essentially fresh out of high school kids, there's a lot you got to learn, a lot of humbling lessons to learn.
A lot of testosterone.
Yeah.
And is there a moment in your guys' career, on stage or off stage, that reminded you guys why you started making music?
Oh, it was about an hour ago. Yeah.
Yeah,
today.
today.
Yeah, it was today on stage. It was beautiful. Yeah. This was a good example of it. There's a lot of them, but I mean, this was a big one for me. I think today's set was like, wow, this is a big step. That's a legendary stage. We've been dreaming of playing this festival in general for so long, and then we got a better time slot, which was really cool. We were supposed to play at 11:45.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people were still trying to get in the gate at that time, so it was really nice to like be able to play the bowl stage, but also at 1:45. So for me, that was a big one. But every time we do these festivals, I think it feels like a big step. For us.
Totally, yeah. You get so in the zone when you're playing a live show, you might close your eyes and kind of lose yourself a little bit, but like when you open your eyes and see what you're doing, it's definitely like very humbling, but it makes you feel great. Like it reminds you why we're all doing this for sure.
Mm-hmm. And just having countless people be like, letting us know that we like they're big fans or like we mean something to them. That always fills our hearts, and that's what keeps you going for sure. Even just like a simple comment on a Instagram post or something, just like, I
Right.
love you guys, you mean a lot to me, that
Yep.
means a lot to us.
The big
for
ups
sure.
really help.
Yeah,
Definitely
for
keeps
sure.
you up. And is there something that you guys want your fans to take away from your performances specifically?
I think, I mean, there's so many like little things, but I think in the songs, a lot of times with the lyrics, especially, I'm always just trying to point out, the beauty of life itself. It's easy to like get caught up in the day-to-day of things and get caught up in the stress of life and all that, and sometimes it's all about just like stepping back for a second and realizing the good stuff. And like, so sometimes our songs are just zooming in on like a tiny concept, but it's just in lighting up like a small corner of life. And like, so in a way, I think our goal is to just have people like appreciate the time they have with the people they love, and like and even just the moments when we're playing a show, like let's all appreciate this moment together, you know what I mean? So that's kind of the message. Nothing too crazy deep or anything, just like appreciate the days and the times.
Yeah.
It's like a meditation. It's all about being present at the end of the day.
And I do think something special about us, like I appreciate what all bands are doing nowadays, but we do hear a lot. There's so many bands doing backing tracks and using like big productions for their live shows. We're pretty like old school. We're just playing our instruments, and like I think people realize that and can appreciate that. Like we have 3 to 4 part harmonies, and a lot of bands don't, which is another thing. I mean, I think we have a lot that people appreciate to make us kind of original in that way.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
guys put more time into it, like you said. You know, you guys will do the whole full studio sessions and stuff, not like one by ones. Or
Totally,
You
yeah.
guys aren't
Yeah.
sitting in your guys' own individual homes, like fighting, saying like, no, you send me your part.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's more feel into it, more work into it. And like I said, and like you guys have said, it's a bit bigger payoff and stuff, and it's gonna be the biggest payoff. You know what I mean? Especially with newer music and everything that have that feel
Yeah.
and everything.
Yeah.
So I love that, man.
Yeah.
And so after Cali Roots 2025, what's next for you guys?
We got the couple weeks. It's
The Bumpin' Uglies
the
Festival.
Bumpin' Uglies
yeah, in
Festival,
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania.
And then we're playing the Michigan Festival a couple days after that. First time playing Michigan, that'll be cool. Gems and Genetics, I think it's June 14th and 15th, I believe. But yeah, those are the two festivals coming up next. Other than that, we're just trying to really pump out music at the time. Like, I'm sure another tour will come up soon. We can't wait to get back to Colorado. We can't wait to get back to the East Coast. Like, it's always fun.
Yeah, they got a good vibe.
We try to show equal love all around, but sometimes it comes down to like whatever makes the most sense
Yeah.
in the moment. So
Touring
You
is
know.
expensive and it's hard. It's hard work for sure. It's not just
Yeah.
a party like everyone thinks it is.
Yeah. I feel that.
The next big event for us though is May 30th. I mentioned before, but May 30th we're dropping a single called Irreplaceable. Super excited about it. It's gonna be really cool. I think it's a cool, different sound. So we're really stoked to put it out.
I'm stoked to hear it, man.
Hell yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much for giving me your guys' time and
Yeah,
sitting
thank you,
there and
man.
reasoning
Yeah,
with
thank
me,
you,
man.
Shay.
Yeah, man. Thank you.